Hi there, it's Jen from modernmedicinelady.com and the Empathic Woman System, and the word of the day is guru. And I suspect this is going to be a particularly controversial word of the day because I'm going to call something out. And that is people who claim to be gurus, who claim to be spiritual teachers, and honestly, they've not paid their dues, they have not walked the walk, they do not have the degree of experience or knowledge that they need in order to really have earned that title. And I was talking with a client of mine who I absolutely adore, who happens to also be a Capricorn. And one of the things about most of us as Capricorns is we believe strongly in paying our dues. We believe strongly in earning our credentials and doing what we need to do, jumping through the hoops to be able to be capable and qualified to do what we're put on this planet to do. And so we were talking about something that had really gotten her goat recently, which was a very young woman who was like in her late 20s, early 30s, who had decided to become a spiritual teacher. And ironically had come to this client of mine and was saying basically, well, you know what you should do is this, and this. Now, first off, I just want to say that it wasn't that my client had solicited the information. She hadn't asked for it. This person just decided to start giving it. And in my opinion, that's like red flag number one. A real healer, a real teacher, a real mentor, a real guru is never just going to tell you what's what. They're going to ask, would you like some feedback? Would you be interested in hearing what I think about this? Or they're going to wait until somebody says, what do you think? But they're not just going to volunteer it. But number two, in this particular case, the thing was that when this woman started trying to convince this client of mine that she should be doing her workshop or class, it was so clear and apparent to me that this woman was oblivious to the truth. Because if she really was as spiritually evolved and along the path as she thought she was, then she would have been able to see the truth of who my client was, which was that this was a woman who's been walking a spiritual path for most of her life. She is profoundly devoted, really deeply understands the path of surrender, and is filled with light, and also has really walked the walk and paid her dues. And if anything, this other woman would have been bowing before her in reverence to the fact that this woman has had a path of devotion and a practice that has been truly beautiful to behold. But this woman was so focused on the idea that she's the spiritual teacher that she wasn't even paying attention to who the person was that she was talking to in front of her. Now, in my path and in my trainings and in my travels, one of the things I learned very early on is that titles like shaman, guru, high priestess, high priest, spiritual teacher, these are not titles we can take. This is not a crown that we can just walk over and put on our own head. This is something that is given to us by our community. So while I may be able to call myself a practitioner of something, like a shamanic practitioner, I will never call myself a shaman. I will never call myself a guru. I will never call myself a spiritual teacher. Now, there may be people who come along and choose to give me that title or define me that way for themselves, and that's their choice, because it's about what I can do for the community. It's not about me defining myself that way. And yet it seems to me that somehow people have lost that memo, and a lot of people are going around calling themselves shamans now. A lot of people are going around calling themselves gurus now, or spiritual teachers. And it's before they've earned the right, before they have a community of people who are saying, we choose you as our leader. We choose you as somebody that we will be guided by because we trust you. So one of the things I was thinking about that I just wanted to talk about today was just what are the things you want to be looking for when it comes to finding a mentor, finding a teacher, finding a healer. And first and foremost, I personally believe very strongly that you want to be finding somebody who has walked the walk and is not just talking the talk. Somebody who has experience, somebody who has paid their dues, somebody has done their training, and somebody who feels right to you. And when you speak to them and when they speak to you, it feels like you're connecting. It feels like they're hearing you. It feels like they're understanding you. It feels like they actually are beholding you as a spiritual being. Because ultimately, all of this is about the divine within me beholding the divine within you. It's not about me being at one level and you being at another. It's about us finding that way to that holy communion of our divine connection with each other. And I think it's very important when you are seeking a healer, a teacher, a guide, that you feel confident that they are going to be able to help you. And so it's important to do a little bit of research. Find out what they know. Find out what kind of training they've done. Find out what kind of experience they have. Don't just take their word for it because they're deciding to call themselves a spiritual teacher. And bottom line, trust your inner guru. Trust the inner truth within you. Trust your wisdom. Does this person feel like the right thing for you or not? Because not all teachers are created equal, but also a teacher that may work perfectly beautifully for me may or may not be the right one for you. Every one of us is different. Every one of us is at a slightly different place on the path. And so it's really, really important for us to choose the right people for us. So I'm not going to ask you a question right now, but I am going to ask you to comment and just tell me what you think about this. Tell me if this gets your goat as much as it gets my goat and my client's goat. And also, what are your criteria for a teacher or a mentor, and how do you define a guru? How do you define somebody that you see as being further along the path? And what is it that you look for when you are trying to decide who you'd like to work with? So I would love to hear what you have to say about all of this. Please leave a comment below. And until next word of the day, I'm wishing you peace, I'm wishing you ease, and I'm wishing you divine connection to your inner wisdom, to your truth, to that inner guru within you who knows what's right for you. So in the meantime, I'm going to ask you, please go subscribe to my YouTube channel, Jennifer Moore, Modern Medicine Lady, and also I will be eternally grateful for your help to get this video out into the world. Please like it, please share it, and please pass it along to other people who would find it useful or at least interesting and controversial, considering that it's what it's about. So until tomorrow, peace.